Hi, my name is Tammy James. I'm a resident of Lake County, Illinois. Today I'm here to discuss my journey with cancer. Back in 2006, I was diagnosed with a rare cancer called myxoid liposarcoma. I began to trip quite often, having pain at my ankle. And one day in particular, I came home from morning service and my son looked at my leg and he said, "Mom, what is that hideous looking thing on your leg?" And I said, "I'm not sure." When I would flex my leg, we saw that there was a knot, kind of looked like a fist that was coming out of my leg from right below the right knee. I said, "Son, go get the rolling pin," and we rolled over it and nothing happened. And I thought maybe it was a bug bite, a spider bite, or something like that. At the time, I was seeing a chiropractor, and when I went into the chiropractor the next day, I said, "Can you check out this lump on my leg?" He said, "I think it's just a fatty growth, something just probably like a lipoma. It's nothing to worry about." But as the weeks progressed, the lump started to give me problems. It started to give me pain. He said, "Well, let's do an x-ray of the leg." So we did an x-ray, but it basically showed nothing. And he said, "So I think you probably need to show this to your primary care physician." Made an appointment to go and see my primary care physician, and I showed it to him. He ordered an MRI. The initial MRI I got, they forgot to put the contrast in. So again, we just got nothing. However, because of insurance, my insurance denied getting a second MRI, so we had to wait now until August. This all started in April of 2006, so now it was August 2006 before I could get a second MRI, I'm sorry. Got the second MRI, and I got a call at home from my primary care physician, and he said, "Mrs. James," he says, "something serious is going on with your leg." And I said, "Okay." He says, "I think you have a tumor." And I was like, "Okay, I've heard of people having tumors before, but it didn't frighten me." And he says, "I think this is something to be concerned about. I think you may have cancer." He referred me to a doctor in Lake Forest, Illinois, and the doctor basically told me that I was diagnosed with a sarcoma and that he was going to send me to one of the best teams in the world. So I went to a hospital in Chicago to be seen by their specialist. When I got there, they did an open biopsy the day that I went, and I got a call back 2 days later and said they had only taken out fatty muscle tissue, so I was going to have an open biopsy. Had an open biopsy, and I received a call on the telephone from the surgeon, and he said, "Mrs. James, I need to tell you that you have a rare cancer called myxoid liposarcoma." And I said, "Okay, and that means what?" And he says, "Well, it's not very good." And so I said, "Well, can you at least spell it for me?" He spelled it out with an attitude, and told me that I immediately would have to start chemotherapy in Chicago. At the time, I had a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 21-year-old, and I told him it was impossible that I could come for chemotherapy every day of the week, put my children on a bus and get them off to school. He said that I needed to think about it. So I called my pastor. My pastor said, "Get a second opinion." I called the doctor back and told him I was going to get a second opinion, and he suggested somewhere else, but it was right across the street in Chicago as well. I got a second opinion, and I decided to treat somewhere else. The treatment that I received for the sarcoma, I had surgery October 4th in 2006. They removed the tumor. It was about the size of a plum. And I also received 36 rounds of radiation 6 weeks after that. At that time, my husband, at the time, he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. So for our family, it was really a troubling time in terms of the stress that was going on in the family, having smaller children and having two parents with cancer. The thing for me was death was not an option. Being an African American mother, my two little ones had long, luxurious, beautiful Ruby Huxtable hair. My whole goal for living was for my two little girls and for my older children as well. However, I was trying to figure out how was somebody going to comb all of that hair. So that gave me something extra to live for. I didn't want somebody else having to take care of my children and combing their hair. One of the things that we had in our arsenal, which really was a blessing, we had a strong faith community that supported us wholeheartedly. We had a cell group at the time, and they took care of meals. Our church took care of meals. My Thursday morning Bible study from another church, they took care of the girls' lunch. People brought uniforms for the girls to go to school, and it's amazing how much community supported us. The other support factor we had was a strong family as well. It's so important to have people in your family that you can trust to take care of your children or take care of the needs that you have, even some very personal needs that you may have while you're going through the cancer journey. We also had tremendous friends. The Bible says that a friend loves at all time, and a brother or sister is born for the day of adversity. So we had tons of friends who just kicked in and really, really took care of us. In 2013, I was diagnosed a second time with a rare cancer on the left foot, and it was called acral lentiginous melanoma. I had dropped a can on my foot, and I was told by the podiatrist that I had a ganglion cyst. However, he wondered had I ever noticed that I had a mole on the bottom of my foot, and he questioned how long I had had that mole on the bottom of my foot, and I told him I had had it for some time. However, a couple of my siblings also had the same mole on their foot. When they did a punch biopsy while taking out the ganglion cyst, it was determined that I had this rare melanoma in my foot. Now, it's rare in terms of being African American, because when African Americans do present with melanoma, normally it's in the palms of our hands or it's in the bottom of our feet. So just because we're African American, maybe we may not go out and tan like some other people groups do. We do still need to make sure that we're putting on sunscreen and that we're protecting ourselves from the rays of the sun. So I had 5 surgeries for the acral lentiginous melanoma. The first surgery I had, the margins weren't clear. The second surgery I had, the margins still weren't clear. It was suggested that I have the foot amputated. However, I decided not to have my foot amputated. I said too many people needed my foot along with me. So today I'm happy to say that I still have my foot. I had 5 surgeries. I had reconstructive surgery to my foot to repair it so that I could walk again. I think the things that you need when you're going through the cancer journey, first and foremost, I think that you need a faith in a higher being. Whoever you deem your God to be, you need to be tough and straight with them, and consistently having a relationship with God. And so that's what kept me, and that's what kept my family during that time. Also, like I said, the support of family and friends. You need a good healthcare team that's working with you. If you can have your primary care physician, your oncologist, a nutritionist that can walk you through the proper things to eat while you're going through the cancer journey as well, and a great mental care provider. A lot of times as African Americans, we don't want to go and see a therapist or a mental health provider. We just run to church and we want to talk to the pastor. Well, I guarantee you that you need to go and see a mental health provider, that they have gone to school and they know what's going on with the emotions that you have. You are a mind, a body, and a spirit. So you need somebody who can bring all of those things together. And I had the journey and I had the mindset that I not only wanted to be healed, but I wanted to be made whole mentally, physically, and spiritually. So the mental care provider was providing the mental support I needed. Spiritually, my pastor, my church family provided that. And physically, my doctors provided that support. So I would say get all 3 of those things. The other thing is get out and see the world. Watch comedy. Do things that you haven't done before. Explore art, explore things that maybe you've never explored before. Live your life. Your destination is already determined. It's about the journey. So explore this journey that you're on. It doesn't have to be dim and grim. I've learned so many things about having cancer, the perseverance that I never knew that I had. Being able to persevere, if you can go through cancer, you can go through anything. And so that's been a blessing to me. The other things that you need as well, you need a healthcare power of attorney. For some reason, people of color, we shy away from getting a healthcare power of attorney, but you need a healthcare power of attorney. And what a power of attorney does for you, it allows someone to make these decisions for you in the event that you can't make a decision for yourself. So you need to delegate someone as your agent that can make a decision for you if you can't. You also need to make sure that your health insurance and your life insurance, that those premiums are paid. We're in a pandemic now, and a lot of people are going to the hospital, sometimes never being able to see a loved one again. Make sure someone in your family, you have a delegated person who knows where all of those papers are, where your life insurance is, your health insurance policy, where your healthcare power of attorney is, and any decisions that you have for final arrangements, make sure they know where they are. Also, if you have small children, make sure that person knows where all the documents are for your children, where their social security cards and birth certificates, where those things are located, where your mortgage papers are, who you pay bills to monthly and where you make those, who you're banking, who you bank with. Those are things that some trusted family or friend, family member or friend, that they need to know about you. If you're diagnosed with cancer, make sure as well that you take someone with you when you're getting your appointments. It's always good to have two people so that second person can hear maybe what you're not hearing because you're so emotionally bound by the diagnosis itself. It can be overwhelming at times. So make sure you take someone with you. And because of the disparities with us in the Black and brown community, make sure you press your doctor. If you're not getting the answers that you think you should, go above and go beyond. I was once told by a pulmonologist when I suggested that I couldn't breathe, he said, "It's all in that big hair of yours," meaning my big afro. However, my children had to take me to the emergency room later that evening, and I was actually having an asthma attack. So much for my big hair. So you go with your gut. If something is bothering you, if something is hurting you, you go with your gut and you get that taken care of. Other than that, live your life. You know, your destiny, like I said, is already determined. It's about the journey. And so make your life's journey a great one. Thank you for listening to this tape and have a wonderful day.